Hey, Carla. Thank you for being here this morning. I love it. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started with this beautiful event. I am super excited, y'all. I hope you are just as excited as I am. Let me go ahead and get started with this. I do want to say that this event is being recorded, but it's being recorded in speaker view. And so you will not be seen. And for the next 15 minutes, I'm actually going to ask you to go ahead and mute yourself so that when it is recording, it's not like moving back and forth. But I am so grateful to have all of you here to see your beautiful faces. My name is Keisha. I am the founder of the Harambe Collective, and it is so beautiful to see both members in this space and people who are not members in this space for our event that is entitled Love as a Transformative Force. And so Fran has already set the vibe for us, y'all, real talk. But I'm going to further set the vibe by naming a couple of things that are rooted very deeply in the value systems of the Harambe Collective. And it's something that we would really love to invite you to adhere to today. One is that this space here and now is an affirmation of all women of color. And so if you're not white, you are meant to be in this space. If you are not a man, you are meant to be in this space. And so we are a collective of Black women, Latinx women. We are a space that affirms Asian and Indigenous women. And if you are a woman of color, this is a space to be uplifted today. Another thing that's really important to us in the Harambe Collective is that we are supporting, celebrating, and affirming all embodiments of womanhood. And so I invite you to add your pronouns to your Zoom name. And the expectation is that if someone has their pronouns on their Zoom name, that you are using the appropriate pronoun to address them. Another thing that I do want to name is that this event has the potential to be very emotional. It can bring up things that you probably haven't considered before. It might bring up things that you have been grappling with. And so if you ever need to take a break and step away, that's perfectly fine. The last two things I want to name in setting the tone is that we really need you to Instagram your ass off today, okay? Because we are visible because of you. And so as you're going throughout this event, if you want to take a gif of my fine ass, that is perfectly fine. Just make sure that you are adding the Harambe Collective. Please make sure that if you are in a session and you are doing some IG story living, please make sure that you tag your presenter. And the last thing is that this is a space of love, tenderness, healing, and joy. Just let it happen. Let it happen to you, okay? Let love transform you today. We do have some people in this room who I'm so proud of who are not Harambe Collective members. And so I did want to take a minute to introduce you to the Harambe Collective, who we are and what we do. The Harambe Collective is a virtual community, and our work is primarily to create a nurturing space for women of color that is away from the gaze of both men and white people. And as we know, living in this world, that can stress you the fuck out. And so we love to be able to create that space where you can be with other women in community. And every month we offer a series of curated content. And so this month alone, we had 14 different events that were all dedicated to exploring love. And if you are a member, you have the ability to have access to those events as often as you would like. So here's the rundown for today. We're going to start with the keynote. Y'all, I'm so excited. I'm actually doing the keynote today. I normally don't do keynotes, y'all, because child, it's not really my thing, but I'm so excited to share this keynote with you. I actually practiced it with Teresa and Amber yesterday. So I'm really excited to share it with you. Then you're going to have your series of workshops. You're going to be able to go to all of the workshops in your email. If you're here, then that means that you saw your email. And in your email, there was an itinerary that told you the time, that told you what you were going to, and that has the Zoom links. Every workshop has a different Zoom link. And it's kind of like if you were at a physical, there we go. It's kind of like if you were going to a physical workshop and you had to go to different rooms. That's how this is set up. And then after you go to your 3 workshops, Fran is going to lead us in a live meditation, which is hella dope. And then we're going to have a closing, and then we're going to have an after party. The after party is optional. If you're just coming in, if you could do me a favor and mute yourself, that would be great. So if everyone could check to make sure that they're muted, because hey, Desi, hey, Sadia. Because we are going to be recording this, and I want to make sure that it's recorded in and speaker view. Hey, Morgan from Maryland. Okay, so for the next 10 minutes, I am going to be doing a keynote. And y'all, this keynote is very emotional, so it's okay to cry. I won't cry because I'm a thug, but if you want to cry, I invite you. Feel free. And this particular keynote just really addresses where love resides in my life, where I've learned about love in my life, and the impact that that has. And so, as you can see, the first slide is like a ton of pictures of Keisha when she was a baby, when she was a kid. So you get into these throwback pictures. And I want to start with this quote from Bell Hooks. She says, "It's easier to articulate the pain of love's absence than to describe its presence and meaning in our lives." And so I have to share with you that writing this keynote forced me to think about where love resides in my life and what I've learned from it. So I invite you to go along this transparent journey with me and to just be in this space in a beautiful way. And yes, the chat box is your amen corner. So if anything resonates with you, please drop it there. And so I want to talk first, talk about my mother. So my mom is going to be the first person that I introduce you to. Her name is Estelle Davis Howell. She's the youngest of 12 children, and she's originally from Franklin, Louisiana. My mother is an educator. She's a woman of faith, and she is my absolute best friend. And witnessing her life and growth has taught me a number of lessons about love. More specifically, the love that resides in the face of pain and trauma. My mother has experienced intense levels of loss. Her mother passed away from a heart attack in front of her when she was 8. She's lost 6 of her brothers and sisters over the past few years, and my father divorced her after over 20 years of marriage with no explanation. The divorce happened in my early 20s, and so I was able to witness this experience through my adult eyes. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with y'all. It was literally the most horrific thing that I have ever experienced, and I doubt that I will ever experience anything that difficult in the years to come. I watched my mother in the deepest valleys of pain and depression and felt extremely helpless because I didn't know what to do in my early 20s. And I remember telling my father that he was lucky to be able to divorce a woman who had such integrity and humility, because if it was me, I would have jacked him for every motherfucking cent that he ever had in his pocket. And so it's great. I'm grateful to have my mother in my life as a demonstration of what love actually looks like. And so I'd love to introduce you to the first lesson that I have learned about love from my mom. So here's the lesson. The love that you receive does not define the type of lover that you are. So I'm going to say that again more clearly. The love that you receive does not define the type of lover that you are. You get to choose the type of lover that you want to be. Regardless of my mother being loved by a vengeful lover, by a bitter lover, she chose not to be that type of lover. My mother chose to be the type of lover who forgave, the type of lover who had boundaries. She prayed for my father and even noticed when his health was declining. And she chose to be the type of lover who protected her peace and continued to turn inwards to grow her confidence and her identity. So that's the first lesson. The type of love that you receive does not dictate the type of lover that you are. The next person that I'd like to introduce you to is my dad, Jeffrey Rayvon Howell. And so what's really interesting is that I've also learned from my mom that love sees a person's full humanity. And so whereas I saw my dad's his flaws, his pride, my mother saw all of the things about him. And my father was number 7 out of 10 children. He was my best friend when I was a kid. You can see, if you see this bottom picture on the left, I am happy as shit that my dad is reading a book to me. Like, that was the type of relationship that we had when I was a kid. My dad taught me how to cut the grass, how to clean the gutters, how to paint. I could do all that shit flawlessly. And every single day, for no reason whatsoever, my dad would look at me and he would say, "Girl, I'm so proud of you." And he would grit his teeth whenever he would do it. And so I grew to expect to see him and to hear him say that to me all the time. However, when I became an adult, I was able to see my father as a human. And that actually fractured our relationship. I was no longer the child who was incapable of seeing the damage of his pride or seeing his flaws. And if you know me, you know that I'm a very bold and outspoken person. And my father taught me to be that person. However, when I became an adult and I was bold and outspoken to him, he hated it. And most of our conversations turned into arguments. And I was in such a place where just seeing him and hearing him would like send me into the depths of bitter hell that I actually moved to New York. A lot of people don't know that he's the reason why I moved to New York. Um, and I limited our conversations to birthdays only. And so over time, I actually forgot what my father's voice sounded like. And after 4 years of living in New York and having absolutely no physical contact with him, we were reunited at his funeral. My father died a very slow death of stomach cancer. And he knew that he was dying. He knew that he had months to live. And yet he chose not to contact me or anybody else in his family. And there's a part of me that actually understands why. But after his funeral, I was very unsettled because I couldn't remember what my father's voice sounded like. I had no voice recordings from him. I had worked so hard to silence his voice that I couldn't remember his voice. However, most recently, I've noticed that I'll be going about my day and I'll hear in the back of my head, girl, I'm proud of you. And even though I can't recognize the voice, I know it doesn't sound like my father's voice. I know that that's him telling me that he is proud of me. And so here's the lesson that I learned from my father: love is omnipresent, it extends beyond time and space, and love is not monolithic. Love is also a lens through which we choose to see people. And for so long, I viewed my father through the immense lens of pain. And I lived in fear that I would constantly be traumatized all over again because of who he was. And it wasn't until I was able to heal and return to his legacy well after his death that I began to view my father again through the lens of love. And to be clear, viewing someone through the lens of love does not erase their actions because that's their burden to unpack. But it did allow me to remember the childhood moments that we had together and the way that he would always say, girl, I'm so proud of you. Bell Hooks speaks about the refusal to let death destroy the memory of love. And what's so powerful about this lesson of love that I experienced in my father is that I know that love does not stop at death because love is forever. And so there are so many other places where love resides in my life. When I think about my big sister, Angie, she taught me that love is protective and nurturing and inspiring. My friend Arlen taught me that love makes you always outgrow yourself. My friend Amber taught me that love adjusts your crown when you cannot do it yourself. And the Harambe Collective has taught me that love and community pushes you past fear and into your highest self. Love is everywhere and love is anywhere in my life. And I am forever grateful. And so here is my hope for you as you transition to your workshops. So this event is about how love is a transformative force, but you have to understand that love is not forceful. I'm going to say that one more time. This event is about how love is a transformative force, but love is not forceful. In order for love to transform you, you have to invite it to do so. And so, right now, I encourage you to ask yourself, how am I allowing love to transform me today? When I'm in these workshops with Amber and Teresa and Arlen, when I'm doing this live meditation with friend Syria, how am I inviting love to be able to transform me today? Each workshop is designed to guide you to reflect and lean into love. And I hope that you see the power that this day holds for you and that you emerge renewed and able to say that love indeed resides both in you and around you. And so I'm going to go ahead and just remind you of the workshops that you signed up for today. There are 3 really beautiful workshops that are going to be happening, and I'm extremely excited about each and every one of them. We have Amber, who's going to be doing Cashing In on Self-Love, Divinely Designing, your own affirmation bank. We have Teresa, who's going to be doing my neck, my back, shifting from body positivity to body gratitude. We have our Len, who's doing reimagining friendships, cosmic agreements, layers, and levels. And then, as we know, we're going to be wrapping up with Fran, who's doing a live meditation. And so, just a reminder, each of you received this document. We are a little bit behind. And so, what I will do is I will work with the presenters to readjust our time. We're actually 10 minutes behind. But what I would love for you to do right now is to pull up your itinerary so that you have it with you across the entire day. So make sure that you have it with you. If you don't have your itinerary with you and you need help, you can actually stay in this room and I will support you and help you in being able to find where you need to be. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so I can see all of your beautiful faces. So take a minute, pull up your, hey, Alexis. Take a minute to pull up your itinerary. Presenters, I'm going to text you a new time frame since we're a little bit behind. So go ahead and get started. Hey, Jill. Good to see you. I'm so glad that you're here. Go ahead and pull that up. And if you could do me a favor, and I'm going to go teacher mode on you, if you could give me a thumbs up reaction on your computer if you know where you're going next. So just go, love it. Stephanie knows where she's going. Ajane know where they going. Desiree and Silka know where they going. I feel like I'm right back in the classroom. Sadia knows where she's going. Alexis and Amina. Anybody else? Simone, Tomorrow, Mahogany. I love it. People know where they're going, which is beautiful. Alex knows where they're going. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so at this point, you can go ahead and leave this room and head to your very first workshop. For my presenters, I will text them and let them know of a different time frame. If you need help, you can stay in here. I see people already leaving, and I love it. If you need help, you can stay in here. But if you know where you're going, oh my goodness, y'all, goodbye. I love it. Have fun. I will see you later. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Who else is leaving? If you're here, I'm assuming that you might need a little bit of help, which is okay.